Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Spanish for Medical Professionals, Grammar and Pronunciation. There has been a couple of questions regarding how we are going to pronounce the G and the J. So hopefully today class is going to help you with it. Remember a couple of things that we have already learned in the first and second class. Remember that in Spanish we have 5 vowels and each vowel has a specific sound. That is much easier than in English. The sounds are A, E, I, O, U. Remember that in Spanish, 99% of the time, we have to pronounce every single letter that appears in a word. If you pronounce every single letter, most likely you are going to have a great pronunciation. It's not like in English that sometimes we skip some letters or we have different phonics with the same letter. One exception to the above rule is the letter H. Remember that the H, when it goes at the beginning of the word, is not going to be pronounced. For more exercise, remember that we did that in the first and second class. So let's start with one thing here. The sounds of the vowels. Easier than in English. A, E, I, O, U, and that's pretty much it. So even if you never heard the word before, you most likely are going to pronounce correctly. We have some examples and we are going to practice already the pronunciation, but let's see these few ones here just to remember, and these are based on all healthcare work. Let's see that. Cara, translation is going to be here, face. Oreja, mano, pie, I'm not saying pie, it's pie. Estómago, I'm not saying stomach, estómago, I pronounce estómago. Colonoscopía, endoscopía, ojo. One of the things that I want you to pay attention here is this little sign on top of some vowels that we call in Spanish tilde. The tilde is going to tell you where your voice has to be strong. For example, estómago, colonoscopía, endoscopía. So you pronounce a little bit strong, you make a little bit more voice emphasis in that, and you have the great pronunciation. That was called tilde. So let's see the previous one here. In Spanish, 99% of the time we have to pronounce all the letters that they are in the words. So this is going to look like riddles. Let's see the first one here. For example, pa, ran, ga, ri, ku, ti, ri, mi, qua, ro. So this is going to be your homework. You are going to pronounce this. Next one, super, cali, frágil, lístico, espiralidoso. The two above one means nothing. It's just an exercise. Now we have a couple of things that we use in our works. Desoxirribonucleico. Desoxirribonucleico we call as DNA. Otorrinolaringólogo is the ENT doctor. Next one, resonancia magnética nuclear is the MRI. No wonder we try to abbreviate everything. The DNA, ENT doctor, MRI, those are difficult words to pronounce if we have to pronounce completely, but I want you to keep these 5 examples here and try to make the exercise. Let's one here. The letter G. The letter G has 2 sounds in Spanish. The first sound is the G sound, similar that in English, like the same like when you pronounce great, grand, god, get, good. It's a little bit stronger in Spanish. That's why when you listen Spanish speaker patients, we pronounce those letters a little bit stronger and we sound a little bit funny, but that's the way we are. Great, grand, God, get, good. So it's most likely the same sound like you have it in English. That is the first type of sound. And you will find this sound in Spanish when the letter G is before the vowels, but not before every single vowel, just when it's before the A, the O, and the U. like in Spanish is a, o, u. For example, when we get ga, when we get go, when we get gu, ga, go, gu. In those cases, the g is a little bit stronger. So let's see some examples here. You don't have to know the meaning of that, just for practice. Gato, gato, gata. Gota, gota, goloso, golosa, gusano, Gutiérrez, gurú, goma, gumecinda, Gustavo, gasolina. So ga, go, gu, and you have the g a little bit stronger, like in grand, in get, in got, in great, similar sound. Let's see next page. Let's see some examples that we are going to use in our work. Healthcare field, ga, go, gu. Gastroenterólogo. Gastritis. I'm not saying gastritis. Gastritis. Try to pronounce after me. Gastroenteritis. Gastrointestinal. Gota, gout. Esófago, estómago, gangrena. I don't think I have to translate those for you, right? It's very similar in English and in Spanish. Urólogo, uróloga. Cardiólogo, cardióloga. Anestesiólogo, anestesióloga. Radiólogo, radióloga. Neumólogo, neumóloga. Remember, this is a pulmonologist, but pneumo means air, is a Latin root. So everything that you hear pneumo, pneumólogo, neumólogo, neumóloga, it's air, is the lung doctor. Farmacólogo and farmacóloga. Let's see the next page here. The other sound of the G is a very soft sound, similar to the J in Spanish. In Spanish, the J sounds like it's softer. Can you hear that? It's not as strong like the G, G. It's very similar to the H that you have in English, right? And when this G letter sounds soft, we learned already when soft is stronger, but when is going to sound soft? When it's before the E and the I, like in he, he, he. Try to memorize how these two letters are going to sound together. He and he. Let's see some examples because we have already been doing a lot of exercise with this. Gente, you pronounce more like gente, right? Gerente, generoso. Géminis, Gemini. Genio, genius. Genocidio, genocide. Gigante, look this word here, have the two G's and the two of them are going to be pronounced different, like gigante. Listen to me, gigante. Why? Because one is in front of the I and the other is in front of the A. So it's going to pronounce different. Girasol, gimnasio, gitano. So you see it's a little bit softer, the sound here. And it's going to be even softer when you are going to listen people from Central America and the Caribbean. The people from the Central America and the Caribbean tend to pronounce the consonants even a little bit softer. So they will say probably, and listen to me, gente, I said gente, they will say gente, gerente, generoso, Géminis, genio, genocidio, gigante, girasol, gimnasio, gitano. People from Mexico, South America, we tend to pronounce a little bit stronger. So you have to be familiar with both. But in any case, it's going to be a strong one, like, it's not going to be like that. It's going to be like gente or gente. It's a little bit like the H. That's why one of the students told me, I think sometimes you pronounce a little bit more like an H, sometimes a little bit stronger. If you pick one, doesn't matter. As soon as you pronounce this softer than the G, you are going to be fine. So this never is going to be like gente, gerente, generoso. It's never going to be like that because the G is in front of the E and the I is going to be softer. So it's going to be something like gente, gerente, generoso. So in the medical field, we have been learning a couple of examples already. So let's review those ones. Look this word here, ginecólogo. In the same one, we have two sounds, ginecólogo, ginecólogo. Look at this one here, ginecología. Both are softer here because both are before the I, ginecología. Ginecomastia, vagina, vaginitis, vagicil, vaginismo. Look, this one here is going to be softer too. Genotipo is not genotipo, is not genética, or even worse, genética. Is not like that. Remember, he is going to be genotipo, genética, gerente de oficina médica, office manager, coordinador quirúrgico, surgical coordinator, traumatología, higienista dental. I don't think I have to translate those. If you forgot that, class 2, class 3. La letra G, the letter G, la letra G. Can I make the G and he sounds stronger? Like, I really want to see if I can do G and G. Yes, there is one trick to make those sound a little bit stronger, but you have to put the U letter in between. So when you have this association between G and E, G and I, but you have in the middle something like this annoying you, this is not anymore a soft sound like he and becomes ge, stronger. It's not anymore he, it's ge. It's not anymore he, it's gi. So let's see some examples. There is not so many of them, but you are going to find those. Like guerra, guerra. Look, it's the h and the e, but in the middle is the u. And E in the middle is the U. Guerra. Guillermo, which is a name. Guillermo. Guitarra. Guitarra. I think you know what it is. Guido, which is a name, is not Guido, is Guido. Águila. 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 We have this little bird in our spaghetti, spaghetti. Dengue is not dengue, is not dengue, is dengue. Siguiente, siguiente. You see how the sound change is not anymore he or he, is going to be ge or gi. Few words, not so many. Rarely you are also going to find a letter, the same example that before, but the letter U are going to have two dots on top. In this case, you have to pronounce the U. These two letters on top of the U are telling you, hey, not only we are making the G stronger, but you have to pronounce the U here. You have to pronounce. Let's see some examples here. Penguin, pingüino, pingüino, güero, Güero is a blonde person from United States in a very nice, friendly Mexican way. Güero o güera. Ambigüedad. Lingüista. Cigüeña is the little bird that brings baby to the world. Cigüeña. Bilingüe. Ungüento. Topical medication. Ungüento. Let's see the next one here. Let's learn the other letter that was a little bit confused, the sound with the G. This is much easier. The sounds is very similar with any single vowel, but it's a little bit stronger than the H in English. So the way that you pronounce the H in English, try to pronounce it a little bit stronger. And it's going to be the same, like ha, he, ho, hu. Let's see some examples here. I remember one time I was using text message and I was sending a text message to a friend that was something funny and I forgot which language I was talking, and instead to put ha 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 ha, I put ha 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 but in Spanish using the J instead of the H. And my friend texted me back again and said, why you are telling me ja 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 ja? And I just realized that I was using the wrong letter because I was with other language. So this example is going to help you to remember that ha 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 in English is going to be pronounced the same as ha 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 in Spanish. So ha 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 ha, like jamón, jalapeño, hijo, hija, Jalisco, bajo, baja. Jamón, probably you already know this, is ham. And bajo and baja, we learned it in the first class, so I'm not going to repeat the translation. Please go back to lesson 1 if you have forgot. Je, like jefe, boss. Jesus is not Jesus. When a patient is coming and tell you, my name is Jesus Rivera, you are not going to tell him Jesus Rivera. You have to pronounce Jesus Rivera. Granjero is not granjero, is granjero. He, like jirafa, is not a giraffa, is a jirafa, because remember, ha, 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 he, ho, hu is the way that we pronounce. Who for jueves, which means Thursday. Who for Julio, which is July. Julieta, which is a name, or justicia, which is justice, and you don't say justicia because it's ha ha ha, ha he ho hu, justicia. Couple of things though. The name Jessica in Spanish, you don't say Jessica because Jessica is an American name, right? It's an English name. So we have to keep the pronunciation like in your language, like Jesus. Jesus, he doesn't like to be called Jesus. He prefers to be called Jesus when he goes to your office because that is a name that he grew and born with, right? Same Jessica, when Jessica is come to visit us in Mexico, in Colombia, he wants to be called Jessica. She doesn't want to be called Jessica. So in this case, the letter J is going to sound something in between sh and y, Jessica. Something in between the SH like in sheep, something like in between yach is like Jessica. Couple of countries also have this letter J at the beginning of their names, and they want to be called with the Y. So listen how the patient pronounced their own name. Some of them, they said, call me Jamal. Or they are going to say, call me Jamal, like with the Y, or call me Jamal. So pay attention how your patient is pronouncing. What I can tell you is Central America is going to be more like Y, and maybe South America is going to be more like SH. But pay attention to the proper names, how the patient pronounce, and try to pronounce that way to make them feel comfortable. So let's see the next one here. So we learned that this is much, much easier, right? Ha, he, ho, hu, and you are going to always remember the ha, ha, ha. That's a funny thing when you write in your text message to your friend. That's the sound that we have to do with the letter J. Let's see some examples in the medical field. Cirujano, cirujana. I remember you were having trouble with this. It's not cirujano, cirujana. It's cirujano or cirujana, which is a surgeon, male or female. Cirujano plástico, cirujana plástica, right? Plastic surgeon. Cirujano de mano, hand surgeon. Cirujana de mano. Next one here, cirujano ortopedista, the ortho surgeon. Cirujana ortopedista, the female ortho surgeon. Trabajador de hospital. We have been doing a lot of exercise with trabajador. Trabajador is not trabajador, it's trabajador de hospital. If you pronounce more like a trabajador, more like H, that's okay. If you can pronounce a little bit stronger, trabajador, even better. But if you pronounce a little like the H, that's okay for now. For another examples, these are very, very rare cases, but sometimes the J sound you are going to find in other letters different than the J. Like sometimes the X is going to sound like J. Like for example, XA may sound like ha, XI may sound like he. Ha, he. Ha, he. Let's see some examples, especially in proper names. Javier. When a patient is coming with this name, please don't tell him Xavier. That's no name. It's Javier. Remember, the X is going to be like the J sound, like Javier. Mexico. Mexico, you call Mexico when you are in United States and you said the Mexico country, whatever. But when you are in Mexico, you have to call it Mexico. Mexico. That is the way that Mexicans pronounce Mexico. Mexico, Mexico. This lady, Ximena, is not Ximena. You read like Jimena. So you see XA, XI is going to be like ha or he. Remember, Mexico is going to be Mexico. And Xavier is going to be Javier, is not Xavier. But let's see what happens sometimes in some medical terms. In some medical terms doesn't sound like that. And don't be stressed out about the last couple of slides. These are just exceptions for everything else. But in the medical terms, or in special very few names, the X is going to sound like S, like in xenophobia, you read in Spanish xenophobia, a little bit stronger. It's not a xenophobia, it's a xenophobia. It's not a xerostomia, you read just a xerostomia. It's not a xerophthalmia, you read a xerophthalmia. Coccyx, you read like coccyx here. Xiphoides, you read as xiphoides. This last paragraph are just medical terms, and the X at the beginning is going to sound like S, and it's not going to sound like J here. So remember, like if the rule here above will apply to this one, instead of say xiphoides, I will say hyphoides, and that's not the case. It's an exception of the exception. So xiphoides, you read xiphoides, which is that little bone in the middle of our chest close to our stomach. Coccyx, if we follow the same rule like here, you will say cochis, and it's not, it's coccyx. So those medical terms, you just have to memorize how to pronounce, because this one here, they don't follow any rule. This one here, Javier, Mexico, y Jimena, they follow the rule that the XA and the XI sometimes are read like ha and he in Spanish, but they are exceptions. Okay, this is everything for today. I hope you enjoyed the class today. And I'm going to be waiting for you today at 6 p.m. for another class of the pronouns and the regular lesson at 6 to 7 p.m. today. Have a great afternoon.